Hello. Hello, Terry.
Hello, Cindy.
Welcome
Thank
to
you for having me today.
Sure. Yeah, I'm honored to have you. For I have Kelly, my friend Kelly is watching right now, and a lot of times I just put my interviews up there and people might watch live or they might watch like later or something. And
Mhm.
so thank you for coming. And I'm just going to interview Terry. She's a fellow VIP kid teacher, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay, well, the first thing I want to say is I've always wanted to tell you how much I love your name. I love the name Cindy.
Oh,
Out of
that's
all
awesome.
of the girls' names in the whole world, I chose Cindy to be my daughter's name.
Oh,
So I named
cool.
my daughter Cindy, so that should show you how much I love it.
Wow, that's
Yes.
great. Because you know what? Cindy's kind of a common name, so I've never heard anybody say that. So thank
Oh, I think it's a beautiful name, and it's one of my very favorite names. I
you.
love it.
Short for anything? Is your daughter short for anything? Like, is it Cindy?
No, it's just Cindy Lynn is her name.
That's my name
Yeah,
too.
such a beautiful name, Cindy Lynn. Mhm.
Thank
Yep.
you. Wow,
Mhm.
that's great.
Yes. Well, I live in Northwest Indiana. I live near Chicago,
Okay.
about a half hour from Chicago. So I was able to go to the Chicago VIP Kid Journey
Oh,
and still
cool.
stay at home because I only live a half hour away. And so I really enjoyed that. I got to
Oh,
meet
great.
me, which I
Okay,
like to meet too.
great. Yeah.
And I got to meet her and thank her for the job and meet the person who develops the curriculum and many other teachers. I really loved it.
Oh, that's
And
great.
I've been married
What
for
year
30
was
years.
that? What year was that? The Chicago one? I
I
think that
believe
was
it was
great.
2 years ago. Was it
I think it's right, like kind of when I was kind of new and I didn't know that much about it.
2018?
Yeah.
Maybe 2000, maybe 2019. It was two
Yeah,
years
I
ago.
think it was, yeah, I can't even,
2019. I think it was 2 years ago.
yeah. Because then
Mhm.
they had the Las Vegas one. And
Yeah.
and I had a lot of friends that went to that. I
Mhm.
really wanted to go, but that was
Mhm.
kind of far.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
then I
I've just been to the Chicago one, and then I just attended the virtual one that they had online. I was
right,
able to attend that as well.
I did too. So
Mhm.
those are two.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. I
Mhm.
went to the one I was supposed to go to Atlanta and I was really, really sad that I didn't get to go.
Mhm.
And things have not really gotten better. So I did the journey online, which was, it was second best, but I thought it was
Mhm.
really nice. I thought it was well
Yeah.
done.
Mhm.
It
Yes,
was
me
fun.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So back to myself. I
Yeah.
have been married for 30 years, and I have two adult daughters. My oldest daughter is the one named Cindy, and she is married and has a baby. So I have one granddaughter, and
Okay.
we can just talk about her the rest of the time if you want.
Exactly. I get that. Yeah.
Mhm.
What's her
I,
name?
her name is Candace,
Oh, cute.
and
Yeah.
that's a beautiful name as
Yeah.
well.
I like it.
Yeah. And my other daughter's name is Trina, and I like that name too.
Yeah. That's
So
pretty.
all beautiful names.
Yeah.
And I'm a Christian pianist. Piano and music are my biggest strengths.
Okay.
And I'm a church pianist at my church. I'm a Sunday school teacher, and I teach private piano in my home. I've taught private piano in my home for many years.
Awesome. Wow. So what made you decide to teach VIP Kid?
When my daughters grew up and became adults and I had more time on my hands,
Yeah.
I really, when they both got older and they went on to their adult lives, really needed I had been a stay-at-home mom
Mhm.
the whole time they were growing up. And I just needed something for that to make up for that time that I now had that I didn't have before. Wanted to keep busy. And I love teaching. I feel that teaching is my gift, and I am gifted in that area. And my college degrees are in education. And I would like to teach, but I didn't want to go back to all day, every day,
Yes.
full time in the classroom. I love to
A
teach,
lot
but
of
I'd
work.
rather not teach all day, every day, all year. And
Yeah.
so, and I was used to, I love home. I'm a homebody, and I preferred to have a job that I could work from home. And so a friend of mine started posting on Facebook about how she got this new job teaching English online. And English, I mentioned how I love music and English are my two best subjects, my two favorite subjects. And before I had my daughters, before I was a stay-at-home mom, I was an English teacher in a Christian school. And so English teaching online, that was like perfect for me because I could teach English and I could do it at home.
Yeah.
And so I asked my friend about this. She was posting these pictures and telling about it. It sounded like so much fun. And it's something that was right up my alley. And she sent me her referral link immediately. I immediately clicked on it and applied and got the job and have loved it ever since. It's perfect for me. Even my daughter said that is perfect for you because she knows me.
Yeah. 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 Same happened to me. Like when I found out about it, I was like, it's just, yeah. And for me, I have 13 kids, but my youngest is 13, and I don't care. I'm here to tell you, I have a lot of kids, and when they started going off, it was like the most heart-wrenching thing. I didn't expect it at all. So I was the same way. I need something that I enjoy doing because they have to move on with their lives and they can't be worried about me, and but I need something to kind of fill that void, and that's a lot of what happened in my life. So it kind of revived me a little bit. I mean, I'm a Christian too. I do a lot of the similar things as you, but we do all need that purpose, and just, I don't know, some people love cleaning and cooking and just being home, and that's all. My mom did that for years and loved it, but for me, I feel like I needed more, for an outlet, and it definitely filled that void. Definitely. So did you feel like when you got into it, as far as the technology part, was that easy for you?
It was. I don't consider myself tech savvy, really, but I know how to do what I need to do. That basically the tech part wasn't difficult. I know, again, I am not tech savvy, and my kids definitely would say I am not tech savvy, but I know more than a lot of adults do. I know more than my husband does. I know enough to do what I need to do online for the jobs that I have online. And that's about all I know.
So, I mean, you came here because I asked on my iPad group, are there any iPad users out there that I could interview? And you offered to come. So how do you use the iPad? Do you use it for teaching, or do you use it for like a backup?
I almost solely use it. Well, for VIP Kid, I'm sorry, for VIP Kid, I only use the iPad only.
Oh, okay.
Only. And that's almost the only thing I use it for in general. I bought it for VIP Kid. I was originally teaching VIP Kid on my Google Chromebook. And it worked very well because I think that VIP Kid went through the program and the software went through Google. And so it was very smooth and it worked very well.
Yep.
But then they made an announcement that we were no longer going to be able to use Google Chromebooks, and that we were going to have to go through an app, and that we could either use an app on an iPad or an app on a laptop that had a lot of requirements for it, and that where we could have the app. And so my first thought was that I would buy a laptop. But when I went shopping for them and trying to make sure I had a good enough quality one to have all of the requirements needed, I was finding that it was going to be very expensive to get. My Chromebook cost like $140.
Right. that was the advantage of the Chromebook.
Yes. And so, I was like, oh wow, this is so expensive. But then I found out I could get a brand new iPad for $250.
Yeah.
And so that was the selling point for me. And the reason why I got an iPad, I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer, $250. So I got it to teach for Vipkid because I could, and because it was the cheapest option. So I got an iPad screen protector, case, and a stand, and to hold it in place, and it has been a dream. I only got it for the reasons that I mentioned, but I was shocked when I started using it the very first time at how much easier it was.
Yeah.
I was logged in immediately. I couldn't, the color just, whoom,
Yeah.
the vibrant color. And the thing I love the most is the touch screen.
Yeah.
Because before I was using my finger like a mouse,
Yeah.
and trying to write neatly on the
Yep.
screen, and to be able to have the touch screen,
Mhm.
I fell in love with it. And I'm like, wow, I'm glad that they switched over so that I could have this convenience. It's so small and lightweight. Also, there's something else that it's convenient about, and that is that, if a student isn't showing up for class, if you're using a big computer or a heavy laptop, you have to sit there
Right.
and wait. Or if you try to slip away for a second, you have to keep checking back to make sure you don't miss it if they do end up showing up late. But with the iPad, I can walk around the house and do whatever I want, because the iPad, it's like kind of carrying around a big phone,
Yeah.
and I can do things and have it right there in case the child shows up. And that is so convenient.
Yeah.
And the picture and everything. So I really love it. So I pretty much only turn it on for the
classes.
class,
Yeah.
but there's one other. I have no other Apple products. I'm an Android person, so I have no other Apple products. So if I need to communicate with someone with an Apple product,
Okay.
I have one now.
Okay.
So if I have FaceTime now, where I didn't have that before. Also, I mentioned I'm a church pianist, and sometimes we have to send songs and recordings, or I have to play the piano for something and send a recording. And in an Android device, those files are too large to send.
Okay.
But on the iPad, on iMessage, I can send those things.
Oh.
And it can handle big files and big videos. And so I'm so glad I have it, because now I have that advantage as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I started actually making like YouTube videos just for like recording my kids for recitals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes in handy too. Like you could do that through YouTube and just put it on like private. If you didn't want it to be like a public video, you can put it on.
Right. I've done that before.
Good way to send like files and stuff that are kind of big, is just house it on YouTube. But that is so awesome. Yeah, because when I first started, I had an older computer which worked to get the classes to get hired. But when I tried to connect to China, I'm like, this computer isn't going to do it. So I had an iPad already. So I started using the iPad, and it worked. I did it for my first 1,000 classes. Then I got like a Groupon MacBook, which that wasn't good enough either, really. But I used that for a while until I got tired of it. Then I finally did get a newer computer, but I feel like I made enough money that I could justify, getting a computer at that point. So, but yeah, and I've met a lot of people, they say, once I started using the iPad, and it's good for traveling too. And one time my power went out in the house, and my hotspot wouldn't work in my back room here. So I could take my iPad outside and
Mhm.
finish that class.
Exactly.
So there's,
Exactly.
yeah, there's a lot you can
Exactly.
do with it.
Yes. Yes, I've used it traveling as
Very
well.
versatile.
Mhm. Much more
What's
convenient than a
Yeah.
laptop. Mhm.
Yeah. So what do you do for like rewards and stuff? If you're using, that's what I started making videos about. I'm like,
Mhm.
for people that use an iPad, they get all upset because they can't use the AR stickers or they can't
Mhm.
use digital. Like now I'll use Manicam and stuff.
Mhm.
But so what do you do for rewards?
I use physical rewards. I
Yeah.
don't I don't use digital rewards. The only rewards I use, I don't know if you would consider it digitally, is I have a bunch of pictures of rabbits for, many of the girls love rabbits. I don't
Mhm.
know if it's something in China, but so many of them love rabbits and many of them love cats. And so I have a whole bunch of pictures of rabbits. I have a whole bunch of pictures of cats. Sometimes I will, if I find out a boy likes Spider-Man or something, I'll pull up and I just Google um, and I just get a whole bunch of pictures of rabbits, cute cats, a whole bunch of different pictures of Spider-Man or different superheroes or something, but I just show them on my phone, and I'll just show them on my phone, and so forth. And when my granddaughter was born, I had a bunch of pictures of my baby granddaughter. You want to see my baby granddaughter? And every time they got a reward, they got to see the baby. And
Cute.
I did that for the little girls because they were all excited about the baby.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
I besides that, that's the only, I guess you could consider digital rewards. I normally use physical rewards. When I started, I put together a Mr. Potato Head, the different parts, and I would also teach the parts of the face
Oh
with it.
yeah.
Then
Mhm.
I went on to putting together a hamburger, the bun and the hamburger and the cheese and the lettuce, tomato, ketchup, mustard, and put together a hamburger. And I have trophies. I have medals. They get medals. I'll put the medals around Dino. I give trophies. I have a whole bunch of dinos, and they'll get a different dino for every for those who don't know, Dino is our mascot for
Right.
Vipkid, and
Right.
I have just to show
I think
examples where we have different dinos. Yes, there we go. So and I have the little pins. Most recently, since we got the Dino family pins,
Yeah.
they're so excited to get to see what dinos. I'll show. You get Dino's dad, and then you get Dino's mom, and you get Dino's brother and
Oh, cute.
sister.
Yeah.
And I give them the boys. I have dinosaurs. I have a whole pile of dinosaurs, and they'll get a different dinosaur. I have superheroes. I've got Superman and Batman. I have physical rewards.
Cute. Oh yeah.
I have find a star,
Yep.
different, the money, they get money. I have Hong Bao for Spring Festival. I give them Hong Bao. I have ice cream cones. They
Yep.
get different, and I try to teach them through the rewards. I
Yeah.
teach them, they know ice cream, and I teach them vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and I
Mhm.
have other flavors as well. And those, I have a lot of physical rewards that I give. I have little ponies. I have what I call dino questions, and they're questions on. I do these
Cute.
for the older kids,
Yep.
and here's an example. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And you get a dino question, and they get to converse, and I go through these different questions where they tell me things like that. If I went to China, where would you take me? What would you show me? Different
Right.
questions like that. What do you like to smell? What smell do you like? And questions like that. So that I'm sure after this interview, I'll think of a whole bunch more I could tell
Yeah.
you about that I have, but those are ones that I'm thinking of right now.
Great. So like in a day, do you switch rewards per kid or do you just like use the same reward all day for the whole group?
I usually switch. I don't switch on purpose because I feel I need to. I try to adjust the reward to who the student is. the age that they are, the level they're on, and what they like or don't like. So the same reward may apply to some students, but some usually different. I try to apply it to the
Do you
student.
keep track? Like, do you keep track of it in a notebook? Like some people, when I first started, some people would keep track of every single kid and rewards, and it
Well,
kind of got overwhelming.
one thing I really like about VIP Kid is how we have that teacher to teacher feedback.
Yeah.
Honestly, I use the teacher to teacher feedback a lot for myself because when I teach the child again, I go back and look at what I wrote. Sometimes I will put what I used. I don't always put what I use, but sometimes I do if I feel like I need to remember. For instance, I have a whole bunch of pictures of cats. So if I showed the student only half of them, I'll make a note in my teacher feedback. I'll just put continue cats. So I'll know that to do cats next time, but do the other half, you know.
Yeah,
And
I do that too.
just to remind myself. So I use the teacher to teacher feedback because when we pull up the class and the student info, that's there and I can just look at that and decide from there, and based on what the lesson's about, what the reward will be.
Yeah. That sounds like what I do. Like I was starting to keep track and I'm like, you know what? I could all of a sudden not see this kid and then all this extra work has just been kind of like redundant. So, but sometimes I'll keep the same reward. Like for Chinese New Year, I would do the same reward like for the entire week, you know, for everybody because
when I first started teaching, originally in the very beginning, I did Mr. Potato Head for everybody. And then after a while, I'm like, you know what? They're probably getting tired of this. And then I added the hamburger, and then but just the longer I've been teaching for over 3.5 years now, and I'm on my 8th contract. And so, by now I've developed, I have Paw Patrol, finger puppets.
Oh, nice.
And that's another
So
one.
how many classes have you taught so far?
I should have thought to look that up before I had this interview, but I'm sorry, Cindy, I don't know off the top of my head how many.
I did an interview, the last interview I did. I didn't ask the lady, and when I have to go back and write it in the comments because I was like, I did not ask you how many classes you did. She did 11,000. Are you up to 11,000?
No, I'm not up to 11,000.
I'm like, you're a rock star. You didn't even mention it.
No, I haven't done 11,000. So
yeah, I was like, wow. But she went to Chicago too. Yeah,
yes, it was nice getting to meet a lot of the teachers and a lot of the teachers that we see in the videos. To get you like them and you're like, I know who that is, even though you haven't met them in person and meet each other in person. That was really nice.
That's what happened to me at the virtual journey. All of a sudden I did that. Did you do the meetup when you talked to a teacher for 3 minutes? And I met Hillary, and I'm like, "You're Hillary! Oh my god!" Like, do you mind if I snap a picture?
I got to meet all of the VIPs. In addition to meeting Cindy, me, and the curriculum director, I got to meet Nancy Taylor and Angela and Aaron and the very top recruiter. I can't remember her name right
now. Tina.
I got to meet Christina. I actually got to play a game with Christina because we divided up into twos to play a game to teach interaction and so forth. And Christina and I were a team, so I got to meet her. I got to meet a lot. I'm not thinking of all the names right now, but I got to meet a lot of the people that we see do the videos and so forth. So I got to meet Eric.
A lot of good memories. Yeah.
I got to meet, Eric.
So what do you think about the new feedback situation? Did you hear about it?
I don't think so.
So I think the notice might have come out just today. I put it on the iPad group that they're not going to review bad apples anymore.
Oh, so if you get a bad apple feedback, it sticks.
It sticks.
It sticks.
And
Well,
there,
uh-huh.
yeah.
I see. Well, I fortunately I haven't. I have. I
You haven't gotten any bad
I
apples yet?
have a 5.05 apple feedback
I'll
percentage. So
flip it
I
up,
have
girl, 'cause
4.05
now
apple feedback percentage. So I give the Lord all the credit for that because it's not that I deserve it, but I pray about that, and I'm thankful that so far I have, that 5.05 apple
I got
feedback. Yeah.
a one apple, I think. I can't remember. I got a one apple once and I got it taken off because it wasn't really valid at all. But then I don't can't remember if it was a 2 or a 3. And it was like the same parent. And I went the first time I went back, looked at the lesson. I said, "What did I do wrong?" and everything. And I was like, "I really don't think that this is valid, but whatever." And I was so mortified because the mother signed up for me again. And of course, I upped my game and everything, and she still gave me the same amount of apples.
Wow. That really surprises me if that somebody would give a low feedback that was not 5 apples, but would book the same teacher. You would think if they didn't think
I
it was
know
5
that's the
apples,
problem.
they
I've
would book
heard
a
that
different
happening.
teacher.
I've heard that happening to
Mhm.
other people. Like they're like, I wish I could just say, I don't want this kid. And the thing was, the first time I said, well, thank you for your parent feedback. I always love to hear feedback from the parents. And
Mhm.
I can't remember. I tried to make it very positive, like thank
Mhm.
you. And I always try to be a 5 apple teacher and that
Mhm.
kind of thing. So I really, really felt like the next time I was really with it and everything, and
Mhm.
she still didn't like it. So I'm like, just don't book me,
Uh-huh.
please. And she didn't. But
Mhm.
I just got an offline feedback a few days ago. So, but I went back and reviewed the class, and I'm like, I think it was somewhat valid on my part because I was really tired and I had something in my eye, so I went like this a couple times. But the student was like laying down and
Mhm.
she was like moving her device. There was
Mhm.
noise in the background. There was a baby crying,
Mhm.
and the girl could not read. And it was the Japan lesson, and it was such a hard lesson. Like she
Mhm.
was not focused. So I felt like I was annoyed. Like I was annoyed. I'm like, why do they give this lesson to a kid who can't read? Because what am I supposed to do? So I was quiet and let her read, but they interpreted that as that I wasn't really attentive. She said I wasn't I can't remember the word, begin with a C. But on my end, I'm like, if the student was on her game and everything, I could see them saying, okay, because I was tired and it wasn't my best class, for sure. But I was like, well, if that's the only one I get, I'll be okay. But
Right. I try very hard to if I'm not happy with the student's behavior, to not show it.
yeah.
If I can tell that, mentally I'm kind of thinking,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
know, I'm not happy, I kind of tell myself, okay, you have to stay positive, smile, happy.
Smiling.
Don't let that affect the way your attitude, your voice, your treatment of the child, because,
I think for me is sometimes I feel like the parents, like obviously this parent was careful and was looking at me, maybe even to draw something out of her kid. I don't know. But like some parents, I feel like they're just putting their kid in front of it and they don't really, they're not that critical. Just whatever
right.
happens.
I'm a little surprised that I am surprised that when a child is not sitting up, and in the best situation for the most learning, that the parent was present, because
Yeah.
usually when that is the case, when the child is not in the best situation for them to get the most learning, usually it's because the parent isn't there.
Right.
And so the parent doesn't know. But it's surprising that the
I could tell the parent was close by,
Mhm.
but I didn't
Mhm.
know how attentive she was
Right.
because
Right. It's surprising that the parent would be there and be allowing the child to be lying down and
yeah, and then
moving the
expecting the
device around.
teacher.
But if a child does something like that in a class where the parent is not there, I definitely put it in feedback and
Yeah,
just explain to the parent in feedback that, we want your child to have the most educational experience possible, and we want your child to get the most benefit out of the class that they can. And for that, it would be best if the child was sitting upright in a chair at a desk or a
right.
table, and if the device was in a secure position that never moved. And, I put that in
I
feedback,
have done
hoping.
that before. But
Mhm,
this was like, I think it was January 31st.
mhm,
So I just feel like this time of year, the kids are up late, their
mhm.
schedule's different. Like, I don't have the same expectations. Like, today I did 2 classes and I could hear fireworks during the
Yeah,
class, but the kids weren't
uh-huh,
watching, which I thought was
uh-huh.
really weird.
Right. That was I had a couple students tell me they didn't see fireworks. I'm like, you didn't see fireworks? I'm like, well,
Yeah,
did you at least watch them on TV?
yeah, I could hear
Because
it.
the
I don't know if
fireworks
it's
are
on
so
TV.
huge and such a big deal in
Yeah.
China that I'm like, of course I did have many students who did watch the fireworks and who were telling me how beautiful they were. But I
Mhm.
did have a couple who say they didn't, when I asked them about the fireworks, they said they didn't see them. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was on TV or if it was
Mhm,
like my second girl,
mhm,
she was sort of like being like, kind of apologetic for it.
mhm,
And I put up a picture. Is that fireworks? And she's like, yeah, like I think maybe they think it's for the parents. I don't know. But I
mhm,
thought it was really weird. But my
mhm.
my first student I had today, he was really, really tired. And I think he almost fell asleep because like all of a sudden I couldn't see his head. But I
Uh-huh.
kept smiling this time. I'm like, you're not gonna get me twice on the not smiling thing.
Right.
So yeah, I'm like, if I had only just kept my smile and just
Mhm,
really looked somewhat energetic, I might have been had. But I had no idea they were going to all of a sudden just stop that program.
mhm.
So that's
Right.
kind of a hard one.
Mhm,
'Cause things do happen, and sometimes parents are extra critical of things that aren't really the teacher's fault, kind of thing.
mhm.
So it is what it is. So have you ever taught for another company or just VIP Kid?
I teach online music theory
Awesome.
for an online Christian college,
Oh,
and
neat. Okay.
so I don't teach any other children,
Yep.
but I teach for an online Christian college
Oh,
music
awesome.
theory, so I enjoy that. Mhm.
Okay. So is this recent? Is this like a new
It
recent
actually,
thing?
I was hired this summer,
Okay.
and one of the things is I had the experience teaching online,
Yeah.
and that was just one extra advantage to
Great.
for
Awesome.
them. So I was really glad. So I'm teaching my two favorite things online,
Yeah.
English and music. So it's a dream.
It's great. Yeah. I actually taught baking. I taught baking bread just before your class or this
Mhm,
interview. And
mhm,
so I'm doing Outschool. So,
mhm,
but I also play the piano, but I'm not a super duper pianist. Like I play
mhm,
adequately to play for church and stuff like that.
mhm,
So I was thinking of maybe teaching that like beginner piano on Outschool.
mhm,
That's what I'm
mhm,
gearing up to do.
mhm.
Have you ever taught the Suzuki method?
No, no, I haven't taught the Suzuki method.
Yeah. My older kids did Suzuki on the violin.
Right.
And I
Mhm,
totally recommend it just because it trains their ear really,
mhm,
really well. Like they learned how to play the violin before they actually read the music,
mhm,
which trains their ear really well.
mhm. Right. Both of my daughters played the flute,
Yep.
and one of them also played the piccolo, and the
Oh,
other one
awesome.
also played the oboe. and the guitar and the organ. And so we have, it was the music coordinator at our church teased me. She came to our home and we had 3 grand pianos in our home, plus a digital
Wow.
piano,
Oh my
plus 2
goodness.
organs in our
Wow, I
home.
want to come to your house.
At our church, we have what's called a
Wow.
bell team, and they put all of these tables together, and they have several kids, and they all have different
Oh
bells, and
my
they ring them, and it's beautiful.
Wow.
And the music coordinator came to our house one time and saw all our musical instruments everywhere and said, you better not take up the bells because you do not have room for bell tables with all of your other instruments that
Wow.
you have
That
here.
is a
Actually,
dream.
my oldest daughter did join the bell team and play on the bell team for a
Wow.
year. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is a dream. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in New Hampshire. Our churches are kind of small. So
Mm-hmm.
my kids did violin, but they were like the music of our
Mm-hmm.
church, but it
Right.
wasn't
Yeah.
snazzy. It was adequate.
We have a very, very large church in our auditorium. We have 3
Wow.
grand pianos, 6'3" grand pianos, and we have a huge orchestra.
What
We have
city
a
is that
wonderful
in?
music program.
What city is that in?
In Hammond, Indiana.
Hey, oh, okay, Hammond. I know
Mhm.
Hammond.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
I gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, we have friends that are going. Actually, my oldest daughter almost went to school out there, but she
Great.
ended up going to uh California, North Valley Baptist Church
Cool.
up there.
They have a great music program as
It was
well.
amazing.
Yes, they have 2 Bosendorfers, I
Oh,
think,
yes.
pianists, and they have a great orchestra. They have a
Loved
wonderful music program there.
She loved
Yeah,
it there so
great.
much.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. She loved it. It was a little smaller, so she felt like it was a good fit for her
Mhm.
because we have a really small church out
Mhm.
here. And so
Mhm.
when she went out there, she actually played like she plays better than I do the piano. She plays really
Mhm.
well. She majored in music, but she only spent 1 year there. And she used to go to like the preacher boy like they would have like Sunday night after church, they would have just like a get together and
Mhm.
they always needed a pianist. So she always
Mhm.
played the piano
Uh-huh.
and she just loved it. And she's like,
Mhm.
if I had gone to a bigger place, then she probably wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. But
Mhm.
she has friends from there that she will
Mhm.
have the rest of her life,
Mhm.
and
That's
she's only
wonderful.
1 year.
I'm so happy to hear that. That's
Yeah,
wonderful. The
yeah,
thing about our ministry, even though it is so large, because
yeah,
some people think, oh, I would never have an opportunity
yeah.
because it's so large and there's so many talented people. But because it is so large, there are so many Sunday school classes and so
Yeah,
many meetings and
yeah,
so many departments. There's so many places. So no matter your level, you can be used and will be used, and you
yeah.
are needed. So
That's
everybody does
awesome.
have an opportunity to use their
That's
abilities for
great.
the Lord,
Yeah,
even though it's large. Just because it's large, there are so many more places and events and
right.
classes and so forth to be
Right.
able to use it.
Right.
Mhm.
I love the music out there. Well,
Mhm.
I went to school in South Carolina
Mhm.
and it was a big college and
Mhm.
I sang in my Christian school for 4 years. I sang
Mhm.
alto, I sang soprano. I was one of the best singers in our school.
Uh-huh.
I got down there and I tried out for the choir and I didn't make it like twice.
Oh.
I'm not putting myself through that the third time. So I took my flute, which I hadn't played in a few years before that time.
Mhm.
And actually, me and my roommate, we both went and we were going to try out to sing in a choir. And we both had the same feeling like, I don't want to humiliate myself again. So I took my flute and went and tried out for the flute choir.
Mhm.
And she took her little hands because she was a pianist, but she tried out to play the bass drum in the college band.
Mhm.
And we both got back to our rooms and I'm like, I didn't make the choir. She's like, I didn't either. And she's like, I said, but I made the flute choir. And she's like, and I made the band. We were like so excited.
Yeah. There's a place for everybody.
University
And
was
that must be where God wanted you. And there's a place
yeah,
for everybody. And that's
it
good
was
that you
awesome.
took something that you knew how to do
Yep.
and you used it for the
It
Lord. So
was
that's
amazing.
mhm.
Looking back, like I've never ever even seen a flute choir. Well, you probably have it when you
I think I'm familiar with the flute choir that you're talking about, and I have some of those flute arrangements because
yeah,
of
Karen
my
Kuhlman. Karen Kuhlman was her
yep,
name.
I have yep.
She was
You
our
got a
director.
degree under her. Wow, I've
Yeah,
emailed with her, and I have a lot of her arrangements. I have a couple books, I think, of hers,
I
and
love her
it's
harmony.
awesome.
It was
That's
just
great that you
amazing.
got to be
So,
under her.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was
I knew that was the flute choir you were talking about because I
it
knew
was
she was
awesome.
very
And
good.
when I was there, it was like the beginning stages because like
Mhm,
they were just kind of making it, and that's when they
mhm,
had like a TV show. They had
mhm,
like a Sunday morning TV show, so we
mhm,
actually did a couple of like tapings for the
uh-huh.
TV show thing.
That's
So
awesome.
it was really really fun. And I
Mhm,
wasn't one of the best players, but
mhm,
I was part of it.
uh-huh.
So that
Yeah,
was
one time I had to write I wrote several flute arrangements for my daughters because I had the two and they were asked to play for many things. And one time I was trying to figure out what to do with a song and I emailed Karen Kuhlman and she wrote me back and gave me some
wow.
suggestions for the arrangement. So that
She's
was really neat.
so
Mhm,
giving. Like you could tell she
mhm,
had a servant's heart, and
mhm,
you knew like it. Those are the good days. I mean, I
mhm,
had so many good days back then.
mhm,
I know those teachers could have
mhm,
done like worldly wise could have done more, but they
uh-huh,
gave their
uh-huh,
lives as a servant. So it was really
right.
awesome. So
And
you have
after
to
the
send me some of
piano,
your music. I want to hear
yeah,
it now.
after piano being my favorite instrument, of course, flute is my next favorite because
Okay.
my daughters and I all played the piano, and then after that, both my daughters played the flute. So that's
That's
my next favorite
great.
instrument.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah, well, we have a lot in common.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's really great. Well, it's been so awesome getting to know you. I'm really interested. Do you have any videos on
Oh,
like
yes.
you
I have
share?
videos of my daughters and I playing.
Okay.
Mm,
I'd really be interested in seeing those. That's awesome.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm just like I'm teaching for Outschool, but yeah, I'm I'm trying to like I teach for Outschool, but I'm like doing a lot of different classes because I haven't like narrowed it down to get my
Mhm,
classes full yet.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
but it's been fun, and it's been
mhm,
one of the things I've really enjoyed about the whole experience is getting to know teachers from all over the world, basically, you know,
mhm,
and just hearing about the amazingly talented people like
mhm.
yourself.
Thank
Like
you.
when you say, "Yeah, I'll do an interview," I have no idea what to expect.
Uh-huh,
So it's really fun. And then you realize, wow,
uh-huh.
how amazing these people are. It's really been a
Well,
blessing.
you're very kind.
Well, I feel like I am blessed and I'm thankful. And thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me. That's really
Oh, it's been an honor talking with you.
yeah, thank you so much. And I guess we'll wrap it up. Anything else you want to share with my friends, the viewers, our friends?
Well, did you want to talk any more about VIP Kid? Did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
I have, we talked about props. You talked about your strengths. Do you have any goals like for the future or?
I'm really happy with what I'm doing for VIP Kid.
Yeah.
Um, I I I like what I'm doing right now. I feel like to be a good teacher, you have to love your students and you have to have a desire to help them and help them learn. I feel like it can't be about the money. I feel like if it's about the money, in my opinion, how can you be a good teacher if you're just showing up for the money? It's got to be you have to have a desire to help them, to make a difference, to share. I feel like we have a responsibility to share what we know to the next generation, because when we're gone, everything we know is going to go with us unless we've shared it with somebody.
That's right.
And so,
That's a little bit why I started my YouTube channel, honestly.
mhm,
It's just because I felt like, I do share information,
mhm,
but I also share
mhm,
about myself.
mhm,
And
right,
I feel like that's
mhm,
important if your
right.
child is there.
I feel like having energy and enthusiasm. One of the things I pray when I pray before my classes, I pray that God will give me energy and enthusiasm, because there's nothing worse than listening to somebody just talk. And
Right,
that's why I'm the prop queen. I
right.
have 11 whiteboards. I have six
Wow.
drawers. I have 6 drawers full of props. I have 9 baskets full of props. I have 10 shelves full of props. And
Wow.
so I'm very into, and it's kind of like I turn on a switch when I go to teach class, and just kind of turn on a switch, and I become kind of a different person. My normal personality is not funny or, over the top. But when I go into the classroom, I try to flip a switch and come exciting, enthusiastic, and pull out the props. And my top tags that I get from parents are enthusiasm, high energy, prop and visual aid usage, pronunciation help. I feel that pronunciation help, that is so important to me, because I don't want my students to come to America one day and have broken English. I want them, I catch every error. I have visuals of mouth formations. I make sure I can see their mouth. I not only listen to what it sounds like, but I look at their mouths when they're speaking, and I make sure they're forming their mouth the right way. And so pronunciation help is a strong point of mine, and I really like to help them with their pronunciation. And that's a big deal to me, and I know that that's a really big deal to parents.
Right.
And
So
so
what's your favorite level to teach then?
my favorite level, I would say 2 and 3, and I'll give an explanation for that. Um, when I was hired to teach levels 2 and 3. So in
Okay.
the beginning, for a while, all I taught was levels 2 and 3. And then after that, I got certified for levels 1 through 6. So now I can teach levels 1 through 6, and also a whole bunch of the supplementary courses. I don't know that I'll remember them all, but I teach grammar and advanced grammar, phonics, pronunciation, story time, leveled reading, TOEFL preparation, um, uh, voice of VIP kid, and so forth, all those. And I love the supplemental classes. I love them. So, but I think I like level 2 and 3 still. And I think, to be honest, the reason is they're the easiest.
Yeah.
And that I've taught them so long, I feel like I know them forwards and backwards. And so preparation for those classes are so easy, because, it's that class, I know what that's all. I know exactly what to do, and I've taught it. And so I enjoy the curriculum. I like the interactive classes where the kids can move, where you and the students can move things
Yeah.
on the screen. And level 2 is interactive. So I like those. Now, I enjoy the level 4, 5, and 6 students, because they can converse more.
Yeah.
The level 4, 5, and 6 students can converse more. And I like being able to find out more about their lives, and converse more, where the level 2 and 3 students can't converse as much. But I enjoy the curriculum and the classes of the 2 and 3.
Right.
I might even say that the supplementals are my favorites.
Really.
I love the supplemental classes. Tonight I'm teaching a leveled reading course, a free talk, a story time, a voice of VIP kid. A voice of VIP kid, we sing the whole time.
That one's cute.
Teach them how to sing songs. I love that. My favorite supplemental is story time because I can really get into it with the expression and the voices. So story time's my favorite, I think, overall.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny because I would really love to see somebody do a story time one because I have a hard time with that because I don't see where my kids they don't get the idea of, you're supposed to teach this without looking at the words. Do you get them to do that? Or do you
Not
show
in
them
the
the
beginning.
words?
Not the fight. A story time is in 3 stages. First, you show them how to do it. Second, they do it after you. And then third, they're supposed to do it on their own. So it isn't till the third one that they really have to do it on their own. But usually by that time, they've done it so many times that usually
Right.
they know it pretty well by that point. So I haven't really had a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, as far as being creative with that one, I haven't taught that many of them, but honestly, I'm not really certifying for all the new ones because I might though, because my bookings this past week were a little less, but which I thought was fine because I'm fine with taking a little bit of a break. But if I keep having little holes here and there, I might just go ahead and certify. But yeah, I don't want to overtax myself. Like I haven't done any evenings except for Fridays and Saturdays. I just do one or two.
Yeah, I think that's important, and I think that's something that helps me have the energy that I have and the enthusiasm and not yawn in class and so forth. Is I've learned, how much I can handle, and I teach as much as I can teach and still be the best me that I can be.
Right.
Because I don't want to teach and not be the best that I can be.
And sit there going, I wish I wasn't doing this right now.
And I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it and feel like I was doing a good job and making a difference.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I figured out. Because like when I first started, I was opening anything and doing whatever came up. And after a while, I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting okay bookings. I don't need to do morning and evening. I can just do a good 4 or 5 in the morning, and then and it's not the highest pay. Like I don't make the most I could possibly make, but it's what I can handle.
But it's better quality,
Yeah.
It's better quality. Better to do less and have better quality than to do more and it cut down on the quality.
Right.
And I love evening classes. I teach in the evening and the morning, both, but I love evening classes so the most. And so I love spring festival time when they are home on their winter break, because of course our evening is their morning. So
Right.
evening classes, they're home in the morning, they don't have school. So I like the winter break classes. There's a lot of supplementals in the winter break. So I love the winter break classes because of all the supplemental classes and then I love summertime because of course they're home from school. And so they're home in the morning. So that's our evening. So those are my favorite. Of course, I'm teaching all year, but those are my favorite times because I can teach in the evenings and because there's more supplementals. I love the major course, don't get me wrong, but I enjoy the supplementals as well.
So how about your background? How often do you change your background?
I have only changed my background once. I've only changed it once. When I started, I had a map of the United States, and above the map of the United States, I had my name, Teacher Terri. I had a map of the United States, and above it, I had the word at the very tip top that the students could see at the top of the classroom, Teacher Terri. And then on the bottom, you see how there's a little space there at the bottom. I had ABCs. I had A, big A, little a, big B, little b, big C across the alphabet printed along the bottom. And I had that for a long time. And then I felt like maybe it was after the Chicago Journey, possibly when I went to the Chicago Journey, one of the things that they inspired us to do, I think I had taught about a year and a half at that point, was to up your game change things. Don't keep doing the same. And so I went out and got a whole bunch of new reward systems so that I could, that's when I got my Paw Patrol and I got new ones. And I'm going to change my background. And I saw this background, I saw this background. And so I downloaded it and put it up, and I've had it ever since. So the first half I had the first one, and then I've had this one. This one is much more colorful. And then for the Spring Festival, which is going on right now, I have these Chinese Spring Festival decorations. You can see them better in the VIP Kid classroom. My little setup there fits in the little box perfectly.
Yeah.
And so you can see it better than you can see it right now. But you can see right now, I have some of the Spring Festival. I put those up during Spring Festival. And that's all that I've done. And I don't have any plans to change it right now. When I teach my music theory online, I actually have something I put in front of this, because I teach from the same location, because I have a very nice desk with a lot of room for props and shelves. I have shelves on this side of me. I have shelves on this side of me. I have my lighting is all here and everything. And so I have my perfect spot chair here. And so I have another music, I have a staff with a treble clef and music notes on it that I put up behind me when I teach my music theory classes.
Okay, awesome.
Right here.
So do you teach music to like music majors, or is this for just people that are taking it?
It's on a college level, but it is anyone can take the music courses. They don't have to be a music major to take the courses. But
that's awesome. Yeah.
Anybody can take them, even if somebody wasn't trying to get a degree, but they wanted to learn music, they could go and just take the course and learn about music theory. Anyone could. And I teach it so that it applies to every area of music. And not just I had to be careful because I'm a pianist.
Right.
I want to tend to gear it towards pianists, but I thought it could be somebody that sings in the choir and they want to know how to read the music.
Right.
It could be somebody who they want to be able to read. It could be somebody who, maybe a man who has a very good voice and he was asked by the pastor to be the song leader, but he doesn't know how to read music.
Right.
It could be anybody who wants to learn how to read music, who needs to know music. So I tried to gear it to whether they are a pianist or some other kind of instrumentalist, or if they're a singer or a director. So it would apply I try to gear it so that I cover everything, so anybody can learn music through it.
That's awesome. That sounds great. Very good. So how many students do you have in that class?
Well, that class is a recorded class.
Oh,
so
okay.
I record the class.
Cool. Okay.
And then if somebody purchases, then they have access.
Oh, okay.
Cool. That's how that works. It isn't a live one-on-one.
Okay. Yeah, we're doing DVDs for my two boys for their schooling this year.
But because I teach for VIP Kid and I am very used to the one-on-one, I can present the class in a way like the student is there, because I know what it's like. I do it every day,
That's what I liked about the curriculum that we have. It's more like for distance learning. It's not like you're in a classroom talking to a class. They make it so that it's like you are talking to kids on a couch or kids that could get up and move around. So you got to kind of make it interesting. So not that they don't move around, but
right.
The teacher isn't going to tell them to sit down. So they're like, okay, we'll turn on the video and go get a bowl of cereal. And I'm like, no. So,
right.
It's all interesting, but I'm trying to get them to do, they do one Outschool class, which is Spanish. Kind of cool. Yeah. Friend of mine just Spanish.
Right. I actually play the piano at my church for our Spanish ministry. Our church, we actually have two large auditoriums. One is for our English congregation, and then across the street is our old auditorium, which is where our Spanish ministry holds their services, and it's a very large congregation, a vibrant Spanish ministry, and I am the regular pianist for their ministry. And some of my very best friends are in the Spanish ministry, and so I attend their services. And I have studied Spanish. I took 2 years of Spanish in high school, and then 5 years ago I started playing for the Spanish ministry, and I've one-on-one with many of the members there, have helped me, and then I've taken private
Oh,
tutoring
neat.
from some people in Costa Rica who have an online school who have
Wow.
taught me Spanish. I've done a lot of Spanish homework. There are many ladies who are determined to help me with my Spanish pronunciation in the Spanish ministry, and so I'm learning it. So it's a wonderful thing. A lot of churches have a Spanish ministry. That's wonderful that your children
Great.
are doing that.
So, do your daughters live near you, or did they move a distance?
The one who is not married lives near me, but the one who is married lives in Oregon.
Wow.
Yes, very far away. But she and her husband serve the Lord at a church in Oregon and are very involved. She teaches piano there
Oh, neat.
and is a pianist at their church. And so I don't get to see them very much. But mhm,
That's
yeah.
hard.
Mhm,
Yeah, I have kids
right,
all over now. But
right.
my daughter she has 3 kids, and then she has a foster child.
Mhm,
She's not too far from me, so that's good. She's an hour, which is still kind of far, but
mhm.
not too far. I mean, if she really needs help, I can drop everything and get there.
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Well, thank you so much. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
this interview. Maybe we could do it again sometime.
I would love it. I would love it, Cindy. It's been wonderful
Thank
talking
you
to
so
you.
much.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, and I'll see you around, and
Mhm.
have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye. Bye, everybody.
goodbye.